Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Collateral Nation. It's a little bit of a weird week this week. I'm not quite sure why, but at least, Kevin, I am on my treadmill. You know what I think it is? I think the weather's completely changed. I think we've now made it to fall. I couldn't get out and do a walk outside. So I have been doing all of my walks inside. It's been storming the past couple of days, and I do love the rain. I especially like sleeping with the rain in the background. Oh my goodness, it just lulls me right to sleep. It's just awesome. But I don't know, I'm a little off this week, but on the treadmill. So I think that it's a good start to the day when you start out exercising. Gets everything going. Probably will clear things up in my brain as soon as by the time the hour's up.
Yep, exercise is key. I'm back regularly swimming again, which is good.
Are you really? You know, the American Heart Association is doing a 100 laps challenge, I think, in November. Swim 100 laps in the month, which doesn't seem like very much if you think you're just doing
100
just
laps
a
in a
couple
month.
laps.
I used to swim
100
100 laps
laps.
in a single swim. That's 5,000 yards in a 25-yard pool. That's a decent swim.
Well, it is November, and maybe they're thinking that people won't want to be in that water very long. And they're doing a little, what do you call, who's that guy that does the cold plunges? Wim Hof. He does the Wim Hof breathing method, and he also does all of his, he believes in his cold plunges. But if it's November and you don't have an inside pool, my dad was told not to go in cold water to shock his system because he has heart disease and he could be at risk of a heart attack.
That's true.
So I guess he can't participate unless he
Another
has
thing is
access to an indoor
shoveling
pool.
cold snow. People will die shoveling cold snow from breathing in the cold air. That's also not a good idea. Me, I don't like getting in the cold water, but I get in anyway. But I don't swim in an outside pool in the winter.
You jump in the cold water in the winter?
No, I jump in the cold water in the indoor pool, which is cold enough.
Oh,
It's pretty cold for distance. So distance pool is, about 77, 78. So
yeah.
getting in is chilly, but once you're in, it's great.
That's so funny because my dad says, "Oh, the pool is 90 degrees. Get in." And I'm thinking,
No,
"Okay, 90 degrees? No, it's actually not hot enough for me being at 90 degrees." It's like, "It's 90 degrees though. You're fine. Suck it up."
no, 90's too
I
hot for
guess I want it
distance.
to be a hot tub.
90's too hot for distance.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine that you could sweat. When I start doing your water running, you taught me the 90 degrees does get warm actually pretty quickly.
Yeah, you heat up. And even more so
You
when
do.
you're swimming distance, freestyle, and you're moving. Yep,
Yeah.
you sweat more than you realize. That's why I generally have a bottle of water at the end of the pool when I do distance. It
Well,
helps.
yeah, it completely does. I'm glad you're not drinking the pool water.
No, you don't drink that stuff. But the thing is, dehydration as you get older becomes a really serious challenge, and
Yeah.
you don't want to have dizziness and stuff like that. So Marina's here. I'm pleased to
Yeah,
see.
Marina is here. We're so excited to hear about her walking program. She just started a supervised exercise therapy program after watching our channel, and I'm excited. She was on deck for bypass, and she said, "Wait, doctor, this is a doctor's dream." She is a dream patient for a doctor because she says, you know what? I don't want another procedure, doctor. I want to try walking first." So, Marina, you have to tell us all about this new walking program. I think you had one or two sessions possibly last week.
No, last week was just my orientation, and then
Orientation.
I had a session on Monday and today. I just got back actually. So
Oh, tell us all about it. So walk us through what the whole process was like.
I it will only be helpful because I'm walking, but I think it would be more beneficial for someone that's first diagnosed that doesn't really know much about it, because in the last couple of months I've really tried to absorb everything I'm hearing. So a lot of repetition, and some of the things like today they're saying I don't walk far, and my right leg I'm noticing is just getting worse. So I can only walk now 2 minutes, and it's very discouraging. But what I try to do from listening to Kevin and listening to you is, when you get to a certain level of pain, you stop, but start up again when the pain's maybe at a 1 or 2. And here they're telling me no, because that's what I was doing. They said, no, you've got to have no pain at all to restart. So they said, we want you to sit for 5 minutes.
No, that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
what I thought too. So, but I don't
Because you're
think they
sitting for
know.
5 minutes, and when you're sitting for
Because
5 minutes, all of your cardio is also going to pots.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of cardio because I walk such a short distance.
Okay.
So I'm not worried about cardio, but so I do, I was able to walk 6 minutes, having pain, but able to endure it for 6 minutes. When I do absolutely, when I first start, for example, that's 6 minutes. And then the second, it's like sets, right? The second set was 4 minutes, and then 3 minutes. It's the same thing as your app, Kim. It's really, identify when you first feel the pain, how long can you keep going for?
Yeah.
And then how long do you rest, and what's your pain level after? And so, I was a little confused, not knowing. I said, well, I'll listen to them. I'll do what they say and see if it helps. But 5 minutes I thought was a little long to rest in between.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you did it, you rested, and did you feel like you could get right back up at the same pace and walk again?
Again,
How did it impact you?
my pace is very slow. They don't
Right.
want me above a 2.3 or 2 miles, 2 miles an hour, 2.3.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. I maybe have done 30 seconds extra, but I just can't do very far yet. So
Oh, that's fine, but that's the whole purpose of it, is to
right.
keep pushing it. It's worth trying. I mean, if you can't
Yes.
do it already, then it's worth trying their way and just seeing if it
Yes.
works for you.
Yeah.
Say,
Yeah.
Marina, I put those 2 graphs on my website that show the difference between intensity and endurance. Intensity, I took it up to what I call a pain level 5, where it messes with function. I have to stop, bring it down to a 2, and back up to 5. And that totally beat me up. I did the 5K that way, and then a few days later I did endurance, and that graph is on there, and you can see a huge difference in those 2 ways of training. And when I kept the pain between a 3 and a 4, I mean, it was pain, but I just kept going. The only time I stopped was when I was at an intersection or someone was in the way or whatever. And you can see my heart rate was steady, and at the end of those 5K, I could keep going fine. It was a totally different mode of training. But when I did the so-called intensity up to a 5 level, which interferes with function, and I have to stop, I only bring it back down to a level, what I call level 2 pain, which is clear discomfort, but not intense. And there's a huge difference in those 2 training approaches. You might want to show those people those 2 graphs, because they need to decide if they're going to whether they're going to stick to intensity or endurance training. And the best way to train, based on my lifetime of marathons and God knows what, is most of your training for distance, and distance is living your life.
Right.
It should be endurance training, and you use intensity most once a week to bring your pace slowly up. What we badly need is for someone to do these 2 approaches and to measure the hemodynamics, measure with ultrasound the growth of collaterals. A serious study needs to be run to optimize the ratio of endurance to intensity. It sounds like they're pushing you to intensity, but they're bringing you down and letting you rest for too long. And that's because then your collaterals will actually be starting to close up again. And so you're having to reperfuse each time. So you might want to show them those 2 graphs. They might say, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about or whatever. But I mean, I'm a pathologist, I'm a veterinarian, I'm an athlete,
Right.
I've studied body movement. I do know what I'm talking about, but I need data on this. And those 2 graphs are on my website. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't, but I'll go take a look, and I'll print it out for my Friday appointment.
Yeah, it's inspirational self-help books. And then you go to the link, Keep Your Feet. and the graphs are like 2 or 3 items down, and I explain the 2 graphs, and it was so different. I was kind of pleased with the data, actually. I mean, we need data, and so I tell you, intensity totally beat me up. Whereas
Yeah.
endurance, I could have kept going for 10 miles. I mean, it was totally different.
Yeah.
And we have to decide which.
Yeah, I noticed on Monday, my first day, I mean, they kept my pace slow. And, they said, okay, when you get to 3 or 4, stop. So I did. It was much more pleasant. It was a much more pleasant experience. And today, I mean, I just want to, not that they don't know, and I'm going to listen to them, but I just want to push myself a little bit. I don't want to, I don't want to just walk without the claudication. I want to push myself to get better, to get like you, to get like Mike.
Yeah, no, and if you keep going and the pain is like a 3 or 4, it's not really a big deal. It's it's no different to training for a marathon. I mean, training for a marathon is not comfortable. It's pretty
Right.
tough, but it's also enjoyable to sense your progress. And if you keep a record or keep a diary of how you're doing, write it down, because you'd be surprised. Progress is slow, but it's real. And as soon as you see that real progress, oh my gosh, it's very satisfying. And you'll have good days and bad days, and slow days and fast days, and the weather will affect you dramatically sometimes, and also your mood and what else has happened in your life stress-wise. But see it as this long, slow process. And then when you look, I mean, I was never a runner, but I mean, after learning how to run in my 50s, in my early 50s, I started learning how to run. I injured myself really badly twice. And then in my mid to late 60s, I ran the Boston Marathon. So, I mean, there was progress from not knowing how to run, because I had rickets as a kid. So I have weak joints, weak bones. And so I had to train up for that. But that Boston medal I got in whenever it was, when I was 67, I guess, something like that, 2009. When I doubt my ability, I look at that and I'm like, you did that, Morgan. Come on, wake up,
That's
keep
good.
going.
Yeah.
It
That's
really
really,
helps. It really, really helps. So you're
yeah.
doing great. You can tell them on Friday what we think, and they're welcome to call in here and talk to us, because
Yeah.
I got a funny feeling we know more about it than they do.
Yeah.
Don't
I
say that
feel
to
the
Well, we
them.
just
same.
have
Don't
more of a
don't say
practical.
that.
No,
Don't
I
say
won't tell
that.
them that, but
You just said
that's
it
the,
live, Kevin.
what I would like, Kim, if possible,
Kevin
if
Thomas Morgan.
yeah, they don't have any information about the group, because I asked them last week, or about the application. I asked them if they'd heard of it or anything, and they had no idea. So is there a mission statement or anything I can provide them? Just
You can send them to padhelp.org.
okay.
And pretty soon our producer Joshua is kicking my butt into creating a better website that's more user friendly and not just literally everything, including the kitchen sink.
Okay.
So
They can go to my page, Keep Your Feet, where I talk about my whole journey and what I've done and all that stuff. So,
Okay.
yeah, the more we send them, the better, because we need to
Yeah.
get the word out there. I'm really glad you're
Yeah.
doing this, actually, because now you can act as an ombudswoman between us and them.
mhm.
Yeah. Well, they've had in 2 years they've had this program. They've had 8 people in the program. It's all cardiac patients except for me. So
Really?
not a lot, but they're hoping it'll pick up. But so I said, well, I'll try and get you some documentation, and if you get someone, send them to Kim. you know.
Yep, getting the word out is the hardest thing. And it's because the
Yeah.
medical profession is not with the program, and
Right.
they are the ones who control all the patients. But I'm sure Kim is aware of that.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't believe. So how many patients do you think, Marina, that they can handle?
The rooms
Because they
are
have
in.
they have so many doctors
Yeah,
that could be.
it's at a gym, and they have, I think there's probably about 20 machines. There was 7 of us today, but the cardiac patients use the machine for 30 minutes, then they're off. They're only 30 minutes, and I keep going for my extra 30 minutes. But they could handle a lot more. I mean, there's probably 6 or 7 nurses in there at the time, and 1 doctor. So
And there are
Oh, that's
millions,
pretty.
millions of patients with PAD in this country.
Yeah,
Millions. Absolutely
yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, we
yeah.
have on YouTube, we have PT103 who made a suggestion. Someone in integrative medicine, she says, look up Dr. Lee Aaron Connolly, and she thinks we should go after some billionaires to fund this study between endurance and intensity training for PAD.
Yeah.
I
I
actually
wish I
think that
knew
we have
some.
Dr. Chris Seaman over in Scotland that just started at a brand new university. He's still interested in it. You know, we should write something up, Kevin, and I can send it to the NHS. It'd be so much easier for the NHS to do something like this, and they would absolutely love it. They love any conservative medicine. And I know England is just chomping at the bit to do what the Netherlands is doing, which is to provide a year of supervised exercise therapy. They have a full
Wow.
program for a year. It's crazy. I don't know how it works. I was trying to look it up the other day and I got distracted, but I still want to have it on my list of things to do to research more into what they have going on in the Netherlands. But Marina, you just keep doing it. You just really started right this week,
Yes, yes.
and hopefully don't get discouraged. Just try to, listen to what they say for a few days, see if it works for you compared to the progress or the lack of progress you were doing before.
Mhm.
And just weigh the two, compare the two, and then you can report back to us next week and let
Yeah,
us know, um, if anything's changed, if you're
Yeah, it's
liking more of what they're doing, or
it's a long,
if,
slow process, Marina, and
yeah.
you're in the driver's seat. I decided I wanted to do Ironman in my early 50s. I broke my knees twice running, so I had 2 knee surgeries. I had to overcome an ankle problem, which prevented me from running more than 5 miles. So 10 years go by, and I'm still not able to run a marathon. So I'm turning 60. Finally, I solve all the problems of running, and gradually I get trained by a really good coach. My son wouldn't coach me. Excuse me, it's the dog again. My son wouldn't coach me because he said I ran like a loaf of bread. I mean, thank you.
Oh,
Thanks, kid. But I mean, he was an Ironman distance, really successful. So I kept going and I studied body movement, which helped me a lot. I studied Feldenkrais. I read this, did all the exercises in Jack Hagee's book about moving with your whole body. That helped enormously. Eventually, with a really good coach, I managed to qualify for Boston. But it was a journey of nearly 15 years. And fighting
wow.
PAD is harder than getting to Boston. You have to deal with a whole deal more pain. But I found when I did that 5K out of 3 to 4 pain, which is significant, I came off of that feeling really good. Like I'd really done myself some good, because this thing is horrible, but we can beat it. I mean, I've been at it since 2014, so that's a long time. And so, yeah, I'm really pleased you're there to communicate with these people, and just be patient and keep a diary, and you'll be surprised. You'll slowly progress.
yeah, I'll start doing that. That's a good point.
Especially when you're there, and you could even actually, I mean, how do they do it? Do they stand right next to you when you are actually walking, and then or do you have a pain
Yeah.
button that you're pressing, or how do you
I
record
have a,
hey, I feel
yeah,
the
I have
pain.
a paper that indicate, my speed, the exercise I'm doing, treadmill, and then, the timings. When do I get the claudication pain? How long do I keep going afterwards? How long do I rest for? What's my pain
So
when I go back on?
what you're actually writing it down?
Yep.
Why don't you just use the app? Just say, can I just use the app? It does the same thing, and I'll send you a printout.
But it's on the app. Does the app work for treadmills? I thought it
Yeah,
was
you have
GPS.
to hold it. You have to hold it if you want the steps.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just through a GPS. So it'll monitor my steps even without moving on a
No,
treadmill.
it won't. If you have to either hold it or have it on your
Yeah.
body somewhere.
Okay.
So if you,
Yeah.
Marina, I tested it. You can sit in an armchair and swing your arm around, and it records your steps, but your distance is 0.
it does record your steps when you're not moving.
If I was
Here, I'm
stopping
going
at
to
an
do it right now.
intersection, I was stopping at an intersection. I wondered, and I started swinging my arm back and forth, and it recorded those as steps. I mean, it's not going to know. I mean, it's just using a gyro. So, but the distance, of course, is 0 because you're not moving. But yeah, so no, as long as you hold it on the treadmill, it will record your steps.
Okay, good, because I know my Fitbit, well, no, my Fitbit, yeah, it does my steps also.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not sure if
okay,
it's
I'll
getting my
use
steps.
that.
I mean, we don't care about steps anyway. We don't care about steps. So even if it records your steps or whatever, that's not what we care about. What I'm looking at is I'm on the treadmill right now. I have our app downloaded. It's going. I hit walking workouts, so I'm walking. It's keeping time okay. And so right now I say I have pain, so I click the pain button. So it's just sitting there. It's not recording any steps on mine at all
Right.
because I have it sitting there. But we're not worried about steps anyway. I almost feel like I want to take steps off, but people are so obsessed with steps. And even doctors will say, well, you need to take more steps per day. And I understand for general movement, but when it comes to this actual walking program, steps don't matter except for when I do the walking test. It's the only way I can actually record remotely your progress in a 6-minute walking test is through steps. Unless it's claudication time. But I'm going, it's going. So I hit rest. I put my pain level in. I hit submit. And then when I'm ready to go again, it still is going, but the time is going, which doesn't matter. But but you hit continue and you start walking again because what I have it doing is I have it recording a 30-minute workout and what you do in 30 minutes. So how much you walk, how much you're walking in pain, and then how much you rest.
Okay, I'll
But
use it on Friday, for sure.
it's working. It'd be interesting to compare your reality, even maybe the first day, write it down as well, and it should be pretty close. If it's not, then let me know, and then I have to. But just what you need to do, just go into your app store or into your Play Store and make sure you have the latest version. Make sure
Okay.
it's updated. That's been the
Okay.
number one thing that I think. I'm not sure if I'm curious what Carl is experiencing with the app as well. I think it's just because Apple came out with its new iOS and we're waiting for that update to come down from our developer for that because there may be a few bugs. But hi, Carl. I see Douglas here. I see Mike. Mike liked the loaf of bread comment that you're running like a loaf of bread or you're moving like a loaf of bread. But you moved right on, Kevin. You moved like right past it. I couldn't even break in. And Mike and I were we were just dying laughing. That was just the most awesome comment ever.
He was right.
It's really rude. It was rude. It was obnoxious of your son to say that.
Well, you know,
But
he
it
was
did
an
tickle a
Ironman.
funny bone.
He probably done Kona 5 times by then.
You see, Mike is still laughing. Look, Mike is still laughing.
I was just learning how to run. I'd never run in my life, and I was in my early 50s, so I didn't know how to do
awesome.
it. But Jack Hagee's stuff really helped.
Why are you laughing,
You know why
Mike?
Because I feel like a loaf of bread when I do my runs on the treadmill.
Oh, so he could relate. That's why he's laughing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Douglas? He's out in the sunshine. Look at the different weather. Mike has all kinds of clouds, and Douglas is in the sunshine.
It's freezing here.
Texas.
Is it what?
It's a beautiful day here in Texas.
It is, and you're in your overalls. I'm guessing you're working on your tiny house in between, but you're getting your steps in this morning. You're walking. I can see you walking.
I got 5 acres here.
Oh, that's awesome. You're not stepping on any rattlesnakes, though, are you?
No snakes this morning.
Carl's watching. Carl, you think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. He literally posts snakes on Facebook every single day.
I killed 34 copperheads last month on my property.
How many?
34.
24, you said?
34.
34. Carl, 34 snakes.
That's a lot.
You really have to watch where you're walking.
I walked into my house one time, the door had been open and the hackles went up on the back of my neck. And I walked another 5 steps before I thought I better look around. And I turned around and there was a rattlesnake coiled behind the open door.
Oh my
Hey.
goodness. How did you get rid of it? That's a whole other story.
Yeah, it's a long story, but I tried throwing something really heavy at it. And it just kind of like leaned back and watched the heavy thing go by. Kind of like a martial artist, you know, just, what was that?
I have a question for Kevin.
No, I played with some rattlesnakes once. I'll never do it again.
Smart.
Of course you did. I could almost, I wish I could see our YouTube producer Joshua's face right now with you saying that.
No, it was on.
It's no surprise. We're not surprised, Kevin.
It was interesting.
How
We
do you
have a lot
define
of
playing? What, Marina?
I said we have a lot of copperhead snakes here, and our dog got bit by one
Ooh.
last summer. It was he got a bad bite. He was not well, and he's a big dog.
And there's loads of them around here.
Yeah, here too. We have many in our backyards.
I come from England where there are essentially no snakes. They just have this tiny little viper that's not a threat. I was kind of surprised. Yeah, rattlesnakes are another story.
Right.
Yeah, no, you really, if you're in the country, you got to watch where you're walking. No doubt. I was walking. We have this wonderful pond that's here, and my dad and I were walking around it, and suddenly this guy shoves me because I was just walking along. I was, doing my thing. The dog was kind of walking behind me, and I was walking towards it, and this guy kind of shoves me. And I was thinking, what's going on here? And I look over, and he pointed. And right in my path, if I would have taken 2 more steps, I would have stepped on a snake. Big, long one. I don't know what it was, but I said, well, thank you very much for pushing me out of the way. My goodness. Yeah. It was absolutely crazy. You always got to watch where you're walking. Hi, Douglas.
I have 2 questions for Kevin that brought up in one of the conversations the other day. Kevin, can you talk a little bit about your diet that you is there a specific type of diet that you do to help? And one of the ladies brought up this thought. She was trying to figure out how her left shoulder moves compared to her right hip and the walking technique about proper walking. Can you define a little? I heard that the other day, and I thought about bringing that up to you.
Yeah, okay. The counter rotation of your hips and your shoulders is, I'll deal with that one first. If you just watch children running or you watch real athletes, you'll notice that they increase their stride length by as their right shoulder reaches forward, their right leg reaches back. So they lengthen their whole body, and then they reverse that process the other way. So now my right shoulder's forward, so my right hip goes back, and that makes my stride longer. But more importantly, what that does is it engages your spine in the movement. And your spine is like a spring you have in a mechanism in a watch. You know those, you watch the inside of those old watches, and there's this mechanism doing this all the time. It has a funny name. I forget what it's called now. Anyway, your spine will do that. So you twist your spine one way, and it's elastic, and the recoil will drive it back. So you can use that in your movement. This I learned from Jack Heggie in his book, Running with the Whole Body, which applies equally to walking. You can get it as a paperback, and there are 30 daily exercises that are based on Feldenkrais, which I studied for about 5 years, and I use it all the time. And so those 30 exercises will teach you to be aware of your body and also get you in touch with the use of your spine as you move. And so that can save you an enormous amount of effort. And so that's the trick. You have to counter rotate. So when your shoulders go one way, your hips have to go the other way. And it's like that. And you can do it in a chair. There's another technique called gyrokinesis, which helps with that I studied for a while from a friend of mine. And that's just done in a chair to lengthen your spine and make your spine healthy. So the trick is to try to move, walk or run with your whole body. And that takes the load off your legs and allows you to keep going for much longer. There's a great tendency for people when they practice it, like I see Doug doing, they'll do the exact opposite to what I just said. They'll move their right shoulder forward and their right hip forward. And they're not really doing anything except moving their whole body with their legs. It's the exact opposite to that. So when the right shoulder comes forward, the right hip goes back, meaning that the left shoulder is going back as the left hip is going forward. They're counter rotating like this. So think of your shoulders and your hips, and they're doing this. So it winds up the spine, and then it springs back to the other side, winding like this. And so once you master that, you'll find walking and running are a lot easier. But you have to look in the mirror and see what you're doing. And most people would just move their whole body like this, and they're not doing that thing at all because it feels awkward because they're not used to it. That changes everything. So read Jack Hagee's book, and then send me a video of what you did, and I'll tell you if you're doing it right. Anyway, I studied that years ago. I move like that now. A friend of mine said, "You walk really funny. Why'd you walk different to other people?" Well, it's because I'm actually using my spine and moving properly, and most people don't, because they've never been really taught how to move efficiently. I mean,
yeah, I try, it's so funny because I try and I go, if you watch me, I'm like trying to keep level. I'm almost like an Irish dancer and I try to keep my upper body really still, but you're telling me opposite and really just put your whole body into it. And I
yeah.
think that's why my lower back has been getting and my hip have been getting stiff, is because I've been walking so much on my treadmill lately and I'm not using my whole body.
Yeah, it just takes practice, that's all. But the thing is, another trick you can do is when you go out for a walk or a run, try to initiate the movement from your feet, then from your knees, then from your hips, and then from your shoulders. And if you really want to run, you really initiate it from your shoulders where you're using your core and your legs are coming along for the ride. But of course, they're keeping you up. So that's what got me to Boston and finished a bunch of Ironman races. So that really helped. So that's that question. The second question is diet. I mean, I don't want to go all scientific, but if you want to understand diet, you need to know some biochemistry. And what I strongly recommend to people is they read Harper's Biochemistry, but that's a bit challenging if you've never done any chemistry or organic chemistry. But it gives you an idea of the complexity of the body. There are only two ways you really generate energy. One's from carbs and one's from fats. So a fat-free diet is a big mistake because then you're going to eat carbs instead. You can't make energy in the form of stored ATP, adenosine triphosphate, without having fat or one or the other. You have to have. You can make fat from carbs, but you can't make carbs from fat. The only carbs you can make from fat are from the odd-numbered amino acids and from the short three carbon chain that holds triglycerides together. The choline, I guess. Anyway, so you need to think in terms of biochemistry. So learning a little bit of biochemistry would be helpful. It's just a simple introduction. Number two, don't listen to fads. Fads come and go. The Atkins diet, the low fat diet was insane. What you really need to do is two things. You eat a balanced diet and listen to your body, and your body will know a whole lot better than you. But over the years, you've trained it to like Big Macs or lots of salt and fat of the wrong kind. So you've got to get past those habits, learn to listen to your body and how it feels after a meal. How do you feel? And when I eat a nice, healthy meal, I feel great. And so, I cook all my, number three is cook your own food whenever you can and get that food from your own garden or from a farmer's market. Avoid all and any processed foods if you can. The only processed foods I really eat are those meat alternatives, but I only eat those anyway for nostalgia's sake if I feel like I want a burger, because when I had my first burger, I thought America sounds like a really great place. So and then I came here. So That was in Geneva, Switzerland on Route de Chêne. Anyway, with two Americans. I'd never met Americans until then. I was in my 30s. My mother always said they're terrible. They're oversexed, overpaid, and over here. But that was World War II. They were actually great fun. And I ended
Carl
up in
is over
America.
there laughing.
I ended up in America then. And so a healthy diet is one that's got a good mixture. Let's say you start with vegetables. I think it's generally good advice to say eat with colorful vegetables of different
Very
colors.
colorful. Yeah.
Yeah, yellow and green and red and all those different colors, not just one thing. Don't eat a mass of carbs. And I mean, if I want carbs, I'll eat a baked potato, which
Oh,
I'm
look at
used.
what Mike is sharing with us. The crave.
So
Yeah,
are
Mike, I
these
think we're in the
are
wrong
these any good?
supermarket session. What? Mike's in the
What about this?
supermarket for those who can't see.
Yeah, that
And
stuff
he's
is
What
looking
about
bad.
this
at,
vegetable lasagna?
You never want to eat that
The
crap.
vegetable lasagna?
Don't touch it. It's all processed. Just go read.
and
Just
yes,
go read
lots
the.
of salt.
Yeah, I think eating those processed food packets is like buying a mutual fund. You don't know what the hell's in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So where you can cook your own food, try and get it from a local source, preferably your own vegetable garden if you can.
Oh, well, look what Douglas has his going. Look at he has his. So for those who are watching on YouTube, you gotta join info at padhelp.org to see what the live in studio audience is cooking up today. So Douglas has just purchased, he has a smaller Instapot for quick, smaller meals, but he just got a larger slow cooker. What do you got in there, Douglas? Tell us what's in your slow cooker.
I got this morning. We got carrots, fresh cut green beans. We got squash, mushrooms, broccoli. I put some chia seeds and some cinnamon dashes in there, and I bought the leanest piece of pork roast from one of our special meat dealers here, and it's going in the slow cooker now, and it'll be about 4 hours, 5 hours. And what else? I got squash, bell peppers. I put red bell peppers and green bell peppers in there. It's got carrots, green beans, squash, mushrooms, and persillini peppers.
How about
You know, what would
herbs?
be really good with it would
How
be
about
red
herbs,
cabbage.
Doug? How about the herbs?
Sir,
How about the herbs? Herbs.
Oregano, basil. You have anything like that in there?
I have yeah, we put like the chia seeds, the cinnamon powder. I got some
Yeah, that's
black
the
powder,
spices. Yeah,
red
the
pepper,
seeds.
and I put basil leaves,
Yep.
and that's what I have in this. This is the first time I used it, so this is the first time I'm experimenting with this type, other than my Instapot.
Yeah, no, you'll get
Yeah.
good food. You'll get good food. Let me tell you an important story. About 10, 15 years ago, I guess, I considered going vegetarian, and that wasn't it. By that time, I was on the so-called paleo diet as an experiment, and I found I could actually shift my energetics. But then I eventually went on to a full vegan diet, very strict vegan diet, as a result of a consultancy designed to reduce animal experimentation. And I realized the best way to reduce animal use is not to eat them. Anyway, so I went full vegan. But after 3 years of very strict vegan diet, I developed nosebleeds, serious nosebleeds. Out of one nostril, blood would come pouring out of my nose. And so I went to a ENT person, and they looked at my nose and said they needed to cauterize a couple of vessels up there. I asked why, and there was no answer. And so, I went home, and then the nosebleeds continued. And I thought, this must be dietary. I was taking B12. I considered B9. And then I remember what my mother said. It always pays to remember what your mother said. Believe it or not. Sometimes it's not so great. Anyway, so I decided what my mom said was, I don't know why doctors don't like eggs, because it's the cholesterol, but that is not where your cholesterol comes from. You make it. Anyway, she said, because an egg contains everything to make a complete chick. Therefore, it must contain everything you need. So I ate 3 eggs. I hadn't eaten eggs in 3 years, right? I ate 3 eggs that week. My nosebleeds vanished and never came back.
Wow.
And I had them for months and months. And so I was missing something in my diet that was causing that epistaxis. I mean, nosebleeds. And so you have to be careful. You have to listen to your body. So if blood starts running out of your nose, it might be a good idea to make a change.
Yeah, that's true. And we have to acknowledge our folks watching on YouTube really quick, because I love PT 103, and PT 103 first wrote, well, I'll do the one that's relatable to this. Forget about the science, listen to your body. That's the one thing. That's perfect. And then the second part of it, hey, Kevin, let's chat about a dating app advice from a wise old dog, not fit old dog. Now it's a wise old dog. We started talking about diet because I didn't get to that message yet. PT 103 comes back with, oh crap, let's talk about love.
Love is really important. And I've had
It
three marriages.
is.
I had 3 marriages and 3 divorces. My first marriage ended when my wife, who's now a really good friend, came out as gay after 20 years. That was extremely difficult. And I went into that first marriage as an emotional child, and I came out of it as an emotional child. Time stands still. And so then I had to grow up. I went into therapy for 5 years because I was having a really hard time of losing my best friend. I studied the world of gay people, and I learned a lot. It's not a choice. I became an AIDS buddy for 2 years. That was a real eye opener. Met a lot of people who died, wonderful people, incredible artists. And then I entered the dating scene. But the first thing I noticed once I started meeting people and dating was I was dealing with the walking wounded. I had this picture in my head of people with no arms, no legs, crawling across a muddy field. And a lot of these people had a lot of anger they hadn't got over. So once you get past your first big relationship, it's important to let that go and become kind. I made some really bad mistakes. I married someone who was literally crazy, another one who was a victim. So, but eventually, as I turned 80, I met Sue through an online communication to do with a Lisfranc injury. And now I'm very happy. But it's the only game in town. And I would say read Khalil Gibran's The Prophet for really good advice on love and caring and kids. So I read a lot, I studied a lot. I had to let go of resentment and anger due to ill treatment or people cheating. But it's the only game in town. So if you don't want to have a real life, I remember Khalil Gibran said in his book that if you don't enter, I think trying to think what he called it, it was like the not the like the hot house or torture chamber of romantic love. If you don't enter it, then you won't laugh all your laughter and cry all your tears. And that is extremely good advice, that you have to take a chance. If things aren't right, you've got to get out, and that is easier said than done. But I think for me, every time I learned, every relationship was better than the one before because I'd learned and I'd grown, and I'd learned how to do the 2-step, which is very important. You have to, yeah, and women are impossible.
Women are impossible. Marina, I don't know. Should we stand here and take this?
Yeah, but
I think
they're
we're just
necessary.
we're complex.
No, they're
We're
impossible,
complex.
but they're impossible, but they're essential. I mean, I don't know. They've been, well, let's face it. Where would I be without women? I wouldn't exist.
That's true.
You asked me the question, and so I tell you, there's a great book on this called Love and Limerence. It's really good, actually. There's a difference between falling in love, which is limerence, and loving, which is work and attention and caring and self-respect. And all those things are part of love, whereas limerence is the falling in love chemistry. And so it's pretty interesting process, actually. I'm 82, and I started over at the age of 80, so I didn't give up, but I was close.
It's funny. I think we should start. So I think PT 103 is onto something that we do need. If we were going to start a dating app that was in line with the fit old dog, and it would be the wise old dog, it would be Love Fitness, and it would be a dating app for yourself to literally find love within yourself. And so you would have to match with different aspects of your life. And if you're not quite a match that you love this about yourself, until you love this about yourself, you make a list of everything of who you are and all the aspects of yourself. And you have to come to terms with all the aspects of yourself before you can actually find the ultimate love, which is loving yourself in the
Yeah,
end.
you gotta find happiness inside. I agree entirely. And then you
So
share it
deep, so
outside.
deep.
Anyway,
so
and I
deep.
think treating our PAD and fighting with the pain like Marina's doing or whatever, that's all part of caring about ourselves.
Yeah,
And
I think it
letting
is.
the dog in and out the door is also love, I guess. Excuse me.
That is love. Your furry friends love you unconditionally.
They do. Dogs are actually quite remarkable, but that's
Yep.
another story.
But
But
people
great.
who are working out, right? People who are bodybuilders, I have to say that you pretty much you own the pain. You love the pain because you look at the pain as being good. You're like, oh, good. The pain is there. I'm growing new muscles, I'm building my muscles. And so you when you're doing those, let's say if they're doing deadlifts, I mean, that's serious pain. That's like, oh, and they go up, but they love it. They love that pain because they know they're getting stronger and stronger, right? And so I think that as you're saying, it's a really great way to look at PAD. And what you're doing is start falling in love with the pain. Start saying, oh my God, I love this because I know I'm growing collateral vessels.
Yep, that's why I call my book Pain, Good Friend, Bad Master. It is a good friend, but you have to use that friendship wisely. I don't know.
I like
My
the way you
friends
say
would,
that.
you call me wise old guy. My friends would laugh at that so much because they see me make stupid mistakes and fall in love with the wrong people. Oh my God. They'll be laughing their head off if they were listening to this. I see Marina smiling. I don't know what her story is.
It's
Marina,
it's not a very interesting story. I've been with my husband coming on to 30 years.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still like him?
Well, there's no case for murder yet. No one's in jail, so that's a good thing.
You can
No,
love them. You don't have to like them.
yeah, right. But I
That's
think
cute.
when I retired, he was at home before, and so when I retired, I was worried because I didn't know now we're going to be spending all our time together. But it's worked out very well. We're both more relaxed. I'm definitely more relaxed, and we're having fun. We're having a good time.
I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Really
we
do.
still have 2 kids at home, but hopefully they'll be out soon. And
Oh, I can tell you some advice on kids if you want it. It was given to me by an older guy when I was in my 40s. He said, Kevin, you got 3 boys, right? I said, yeah. He said, your problem is you're too kind and generous. I said, so? He said, you have to understand there are 4 stages of child rearing. Number 1, they're in your home. Number 2, they're out of your home. Number 3, they're out of your checkbook. And number 4, the most difficult of all, they stay out of your checkbook. That is actually good advice because it's like the
Marina,
little
have you
birds
ever
in the
watched
nest. You
Failure
have to
to
teach them to
Launch?
fly. You have to teach them to fly. It's just the way it is.
yeah, no, I agree. One just came back. He was in financial difficulty, so he just came back a few months ago, and it's only temporary. My youngest, who's here, he's a little more challenged, so he's going to stay here a little longer.
Yeah, you do have to.
We're
You have to do
preparing
what you
him
have to do. I know what you
yeah, and
mean.
we're preparing him to move out. We have to teach him more than now. My daughter, she was ready to leave at 12. So, but
Have you
it's
ever
all
watched,
good.
Marina, have you ever watched Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker? Maybe there's a
Yes.
Sarah Jessica Parker in town for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which reminds me.
Is that about raising kids and getting them out of the home or what?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a really funny movie.
It
What's it
is.
called
Really fun
again?
movie.
Failure to launch?
Failure to Launch. Yeah, with
Oh.
Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker. It's
Okay.
really good. Hey, Carl, how you
Hey.
doing over there?
I'm doing great. I love getting all the movie referrals. I went and I hunted out Zorro and I watched it 2 nights ago.
Was that good?
Oh, Zorro the Gay Blade?
Yeah.
It was really, really good. I laughed more than I've laughed in quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite humorous. I like language, and so they were playing with accents and and miscommunication, and I love that. And yeah, and it was a really nice cinematography. It was set really well, so it was just fun to watch, but also it was fun to take in. Yeah, it was great. I've recommended it already.
Have you guys watched the new Mission Impossible? I couldn't get through it. I guess I hadn't really watched in a long time the other Mission Impossible, so I was a little lost. And there's just a lot of montage video with voiceover, and I found maybe it was just the evening that I didn't want to just sit down, and I was cooking dinner and such while I was trying to watch it, so I just kept missing things. Curious if you guys have seen it yet.
No, not for me. Carl, have you seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
Oh my God, that's a long time ago, right?
No, it's a great movie. Another one is Spotlight. But yesterday I watched The Post, which was about the exposure of Nixon's secret war, and that is worth watching right now because it relates to current politics big time.
Yeah.
So I've posted that out on Facebook. Unlike Kim, I am very political, and I'm constantly fighting the current administration. But I mustn't talk about that. Romance, but The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is a great romance. I really liked it a lot.
I have to go grab our hotline, so I'm going to let you guys chit chat for a few.
Yeah, I'm writing it down now.
Maybe we should talk about peripheral artery disease. What's the time? Oh, about 3 minutes to go. I suggested the title "Recording Progress," and it's very important to record progress in terms of distance, how much time, how much pain you can handle, how long it is before your things start to break down, and moving forward and keeping a diary.
I tried using the app, and I did message this, and Kim messaged back that I should message her, but the app it's stopping. Like I've got it in my pocket and I go to pull it out and it's stopped. And then I just have to restart another session.
Yeah, I had that problem too. I use a Garmin. I use my Garmin watch to record these workouts. And that works pretty well if you have a Garmin.
I don't. Yeah, I don't, but maybe I need one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little expensive, but I mean, I've had this one for 10, 15 years, used it for all sorts of races, and it records my heart rate, my pace, my cadence. It records cadence actually. And it's on those graphs on my website. And there's 3 graphs that were generated from my Garmin.
Right.
You get a lot of data, you really do. And so that I think is worth investing in, and it's less expensive than a dog.
It doesn't shed as much hair either.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be vaccinated. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, keeping a record of your progress, I think my progress is recorded through the races I do. I sign up for a race and see how I did. And it's getting really, really hard. The last couple of half Ironman races I did, I couldn't make the 8:30 cutoff, even though I used to do them in about 6:20. But I got completely blocked popliteal. And so now I signed up for White Lake in May. And so I will train all winter for that with the goal of breaking 8:30. So I can then do the race in Wilmington that will qualify me for Worlds. And so I have those are my goals. My goals are recorded. But if you don't have those kind of things, then, I think signing up for a local 5K, maybe 6 months away. And if you can't run, walk. I mean, I do a lot of walking in those races anyway because of P.A.D. And have some milestones of success, I think it really is important because recording emotional progress seems to be even more important than physical progress because it's easy to give up with this damn thing, but I think it's that is a real challenge we actually face.
Yeah. The first inkling that I had something going on was years ago. And I had always walked some and swam some. And my son, I'm 72, he's 37. this was a few years ago. He had gone and walked the Muir Trail in California.
Oh man, that's
And so
is that in the redwoods?
Well, it starts at Yosemite and it ends just beyond Mount Whitney.
Oh man.
And it's a moderately high altitude. It's like 8,000 feet average.
Oh right.
So I'm sorry, a call just came in and it made me confused. What's going on here? Am I still on the?
Yeah, what? You're
I
still
can hear
there.
you, but
I hear you.
Okay, maybe the screen swiped over. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I can see your face and everything, except you're in vertical mode like TikTok.
Okay, I can't see anybody. Well, I'll just continue with voice. And so I thought, well, I better start training. It's like a 250-mile hike at 8,000 feet and with a lot of vertical up and down. And I started having real trouble. And it just, and I'm sorry, I kind of got into a big story here that I should wind out. Anyway, I was my distance kept diminishing as I was training because of pain, and not under. Yes.
I'm talking to the dog. Keep going. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So because I didn't have any, I didn't connect with. None of the doctors connected me with P.A.D. They thought maybe I was having neuro pain, maybe I was having bursitis, or so I had all sorts of tests. So I guess the bottom line is, I wound up getting way back down to where I couldn't walk a couple of blocks without pretty severe onset.
Right.
And it's kind of always hovered like a banner hanging out of the bookshelf that it would be really amazing to do this hike with my son. I have no idea if it's plausible at all at this point.
It is totally. You're 72?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you set up a training plan, grow those collaterals within largely endurance training, get a Garmin watch so you can follow what's going on. Look at my 2 graphs on my site. This is exactly the kind of training I'm doing to try and qualify again for World's Half Ironman Championships. And I see it within my grasp. Whether I'll ever run another full marathon and under the cutoff, I don't know. But that doesn't matter. I have a goal. And at 72, hell yeah, you should be absolutely be able to do that. You've got to grow those collaterals and you have to do it consistently. And then you have to improve the way you move using your whole body. Some of that stuff's in my book, some of it's in my videos, but you have to find your own way through that maze. And so you have to optimize the way you use your legs to minimize the need for your feet. You have to do those P.A.D. exercises that I've set up, or invent new ones that are better if you can. That would be great. So you follow that journey, and there is no reason within, I don't know, I would say optimistically 3 to 4 years, you should be able to do that. No problem. Actually, no problem.
Well, thank you. The goal it's funny because even with not knowing what's going on before I became aware of P.A.D. and and the treatment, the walking, somehow the goal didn't just like fall off the floor and go away completely. So it's alive within me. So yeah, that's great. That would be really great.
There's absolutely no way you can. There's no way at 72 with your experience, you absolutely can do it. You just have to have a training plan and stick to it and put up with good days and bad days. And this is my life. This is how I live, because I don't want to lose my feet and I don't want to stop doing Ironman because I love the sport, So
right.
Yeah, no, I'm fully convinced it's possible.
So one more thing, switching over to the diet question. I'm curious if, I don't know anything about how the plaquing really occurs over time. So is it the idea that you go to a friend's house and they've made a roast or something like that and it's not in your normal diet, is it unlikely that that one meal is going to throw you over the edge.
And not at all. No, there's absolutely no way that's going to happen. There's a saying about that. You got to watch what you eat between Christmas and Thanksgiving, but it doesn't matter what you eat between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there's some truth in that, because it's a matter of, I always say it's important to do things in moderation, including moderation, which means you have to party sometimes. It's what you do every day, not what you do now and then, that matters. And I would say you need to have optimize a diet for you. The most important thing you need to know is your HDL level, not your current cholesterol on one check at a doctor's, which means nothing. You have to have consistent data that you collect over a period of time. My hypertriglyceridemia was followed for nearly 2 years in Switzerland. He took blood from me every week, and I slowly brought it down. At that time, with fatty fish, brought it from over 2,000 to down to around the 500s. The only thing that got rid of it completely was Ironman training, and that eliminated it completely. I got no advice from physicians. They wanted me to take statins, which were irrelevant. It wasn't a hypercholesterolemia anyway. They know almost nothing about nutrition. It's amazing how little they know about. I mustn't say any more. I'm a veterinarian, okay? But you have to go study it yourself. But once again, that diet, you have to find out what works, and somehow you need to track. You do need to track your HDL if you can, because that is involved with reverse cholesterol transport that pulls cholesterol out of tissue. But the biochemistry and physiology of athero and arteriosclerosis is a complex thing that I would follow on, check on PubMed to see what the latest papers are. Make sure you understand it. But there's a best diet for everyone, and we're all different. Biochemically, we are all different. We're as different on the inside as we are on the outside. So you have to explore that for yourself. But I tried paleo. I made a chart of my different diets, and I ended up considering eating insects. And then I bought some cricket meal, but I could never get myself to eat it. But I went all the way around to full vegan and then back, and now I'm basically salmon, some eggs for the epistaxis, and lots of very colorful vegetables from the farmer's market or, a reliable source. But the exercise is 10 times more important than diet. I'm sure of that. And you got to find cardiovascular training. And you said you're a swimmer?
Yeah.
Are you a freestyle swimmer? What's your mile time?
I have no idea what my time is. I have a turnaround point, and there are currents. I swim open water year round in the cold water, and there's currents that vary even when they say they're slack. That it can take me 3 times as long to get where I'm going as it does to get back from where I'm going.
Yeah, this current will carry you along, or you have to fight it, and you're even going backwards. I've been there. Actually, my current Garmin I bought about 6 years ago, it actually records my stroke and my distance when I swim, which is pretty remarkable. So I think if you want to have a birthday present or Christmas present or whatever kind of present, a good Garmin watch will help you keep track, and you can export all the data into your computer. And the graphs I generated from that 5K, test walk intensity endurance, I spat that data out of my Garmin into my Mac. And so you can see the kind of data you get. It's pretty good. And so if you want to do that walk, you have to think like an athlete, think like an endurance athlete. You have to get cardio up. You have to improve your body movement. You have to read Jack Hagee's book and do the exercises. Change the way you walk by doing Danny Dreyer stuff. And then report your progress back here, because I'll be damned, we all need encouragement. Oh, my God.
I love it. And that's why this is really good. You see, Carl, you see, Mike out there walking this morning. Douglas was walking this morning. Now he's going to share probably some of his amazing woodwork. Douglas, we need to get you a website, because you just have amazing work that you can just put pictures of your work. It could be so simple, pictures of your work with an email to email you at Douglas at P.A.D. or Doug at PADhelp.org, and then they can email you, and order some of your great woodworking.
I'm gonna have to think about the Garmin because I'm using the app, and unfortunately, I live kind of in the country, and internet service is horrible, off and on, off and on. It never is the same. So the app sometimes doesn't work, and sometimes I can use
You
my phone,
updated it? I think that you haven't updated it.
but I can use my phone and I lose service and all of that. And
Right, but Douglas, acknowledge please have you updated the app? Because what I just found out is when with the app, if you don't update it with every single, I think Google and Apple play games with developers. And it's when they do an update, they mess with everybody else's apps. And so they have to go back in. And so I know that it was designed so that if you don't have any internet service, if you go from service to no service, once you get back into service, it's supposed to upload that data to your web. So I'm not sure if you have checked the actual website for your dashboard, and we can check that to see if it's still recording properly. So while it might not be registering for that particular walk on your phone, it might still be updating, and we can check it, updating to the actual dashboard itself.
and I was going to say something about the food. That's why I bought the crock pot, because I love my Instapot. I love my Instapot, but I wanted to change every now and then, and so that's why I got the crock pot. So, and I found a meat guy here in my area, and he we had that guy on the show one time. I keep forgetting what they called it, but they they do the best of what they have with the meat. So I'm buying special meat, and it's the meat I bought yesterday was a lot more than you buy at a regular store, but it's healthier meat, and that's why I got the crock pot to try different things, Carl, because uh, the chicken is great, but after a while I want something else every now and then. And the fish
Yeah.
and so I want something else every now and then, and so that's why
Well,
I
you
bought.
want to get something bigger, right? You needed something bigger for the bigger things that you wanted to put in there that would last you a little bit longer. But the one thing I learned about pork, I made this mistake. So I made a cabbage stew. I doubled down on cabbage in the past week because I think my Instacart driver got me a bunch of things for free. Like he loaded up on a few extra things. So instead of, and I looked and it wasn't on um my receipt, which I thought was very strange. So I kept waiting to see if the receipt was going to update, but no matter what, the store's not going to take it back. So I poured all kinds of cabbage. I had 3 packages of cabbage, the coleslaw mix, into the crock pot, and I felt like it just needed something. So I had a couple little lean pork chops, so I put a couple of those in there. That was a big mistake, because the soup that says you only should keep pork out for 3 days in the fridge. And I only had it out a week, and it's like, you need to throw it out. And I was really bummed. So I'm not doing that again. So
Use
just
your
be
nose.
careful. Make
You
sure
have to
you
use your
freeze
nose.
it.
Use
Freeze
your
it.
nose.
Yeah, but when it's in cabbage soup, that's really hard to. All
No,
I
you
smell is
you
cabbage.
smell it before you put it in the soup.
Well, it was good before I put it in the soup, but then they said it's only good in the fridge after it's cooked for 3 days. So Douglas, eat what you can within, and the third day, make sure you freeze whatever you don't eat. Don't do what I did, and I
My
had to waste a quarter of my soup.
my neighbor has one of those machines that you put your food in this package, and
Oh,
it
the
sucks
vacuum seal.
the whole thing in, and
Yeah.
that's how we do our deer meat, and so it lasts longer. But he has one of those machines I can go over and make my packages out of. And Kevin, one more quick thing about the love thing. Al and I created a list. The next time Kim mentions the word boyfriend, he has to complete this list that we are creating for her. That he has to pass before they're allowed to go out.
What does it include apart from not living with their mother?
Out of the basement, a regular job, remember birthdays, remember holidays, call once a day,
Remember birthdays.
send little
Remember
notes here
at
and
least
there.
care that I have a birthday. Think that I have a birthday at some point in 400 days. Think that I may have a birthday. Consider maybe I should ask her when her birthday is. I don't expect gifts, but maybe a call, maybe a handwritten note. Once you find out it's my birthday, once you remember it's my birthday, once you do, everyone has a lapse in I forgot someone's birthday that was very important to me recently, and it wasn't I just I had too much going on this summer, wasn't feeling good, was going through my own medical thing, and I just was all over the place. And well, I'll just tell you, I have a fibroid the size of Mount Everest, and I was put on hormones, and hormones don't agree with me. So I was a little out of sorts in remembering things. So I forgot. But when I remembered, I'd made it up, right? Tried to make it up. And this this guy that I was dating is a wonderful guy, but he not even a handwritten note to follow up on my birthday, not even a follow up the next day to call me to say, hey, so tell me about your birthday. Not even that. I'm a pretty basic person. So
And
Douglas and Alan in our
and the
group are
problem
like, okay,
and
birthdays
the,
are important. We're going to make sure they do birthdays.
and the problem with it was Kim's birthday is the same birthday as his mother. So how do you not forget the person you're dating birthday when that's the same birthday as your mother? I mean, so it's like, come on.
This
So
reminds me of a lady talking on NPR about how she had two boyfriends. She said one was a great listener, he loved to dance, he's in touch with his feelings, he always cared about celebrations, and the other one was straight.
Exactly. Exactly. I've literally just put that in the
Yeah,
chat.
Mike can
I just thought
understand that.
if I wasn't gay, I'd be ideal for you, Kim. I never forget a birthday. I don't live with my mum.
Yeah, but Carl's, are you still there, Carl? Because you look like your face is frozen.
I can't even see anybody. I am still here, and I don't know how to get the
Oh yeah,
camera.
you look rigid and frozen. So I thought you didn't like that joke, and so I was like, "Oh, I hope I didn't offend Carl."
Oh, I've been laughing my head off.
Carl, this
But
isn't the conversation that you came for, was it?
it's
Never know where
enjoyable.
the Collateral Nation is going. I need collaterals around my heart. That's where I need them.
There you
But,
go.
P.A.D. is
Building the collateral vessels around my heart.
I think a sense of humor when you have P.A.D. is really, really important.
It is, yeah.
Oh my God, it really
this
is.
this is the biggest thing you need, Miss McNicholas, is when you see the red flag, pay attention to the red flag. Don't overlook the red flags.
I know Douglas was telling me all along. He was like, really, you've gone down there 4 times and in 400 days, he doesn't come up to see you at all? I mean, even once? There was always an excuse that I don't know what it's like to have kids and this and that. I was like, I don't know. In 400 days, my parents at least went away for one night. And he'll go away for business for one night, but he won't go away for one night to see me.
Well, there's a great
So
book on that, Kim. The book is called
yeah.
Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. And you get stuck in this kind of middle ground where things aren't right, but they're not so
Yeah.
bad. And then people end up staying for a very long time in the things
I
that are
did.
really breaking them down. But I know that Marina knows all about this, so I'll
Yep.
defer to her.
But he's a really good man. He is a good man. It's just, when you're not right for one another, you can't force the relationship. And I know that he meant well, but I wasn't his person. And I stand by
Right.
my belief is that when you meet your right person, the person you're meant to be with, you're going to go out of your way for them. It's just going to be inherent by nature. And so I've no doubt that he loved me with all his heart, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't in the way in which that would drive him um, to do what it takes and do what a guy would normally do in a relationship, which is to extend themselves, at least somewhat. And I don't hold any grudges. I just was going out of my way. I'm the type of person that I'm all in and I love with all of my heart. But you guys all know me. When I'm all in everything I do. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm passionate and I want to make sure, I was kind of, when I started getting into this, I thought, gosh, I need to, be with someone who is in the whole life and limb saving world because this is just, I love each and every one of you. I love my family that we've created. And, I love your fight. I respect your fight. I love your strength.
This is getting too touchy-feely for my Asperger's brain.
Hey, but I'm only doing this because you said when you were in your relationship, you had emotion. You said you were emotional going in and emotional coming out. And I was waiting for that. I was like, yeah, he has emotion.
Yeah, I have emotion. There's no doubt about that, but sometimes it's too much. Anyway, we're wanting you to be okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've never felt any sort of gap in my life. I love my life. I love who I am. I love what I do. I'm a God-fearing woman, so I just am really passionate about my purpose, and I want to make sure that whoever I end up with has a powerful purpose as well that aligns with mine, so that we can continue to do this very important work in fighting for life and limb.
Yeah.
And they're ready for
Should we
kids.
love our P.A.D. or not?
We gotta love the pain that we're pushing through that is indicating that we're building those collateral vessels.
Exactly right.
Well, on that note, I think that's a good place to end. Gosh, we have run the gamut in this conversation. I'm
I'm
sure
surprised Josh hasn't
Joshua,
turned us off.
I'm really surprised he hasn't literally turned the lights off, but he hasn't. He's a good guy. He's been clapping along and sending hearts along the way and smiles. So I think that we're all just having a really good time. And I hope everyone joins us next week right here on the Collateral Nation. Make sure you do like the video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the little notification button because that's where you're going to get notified for great content like this. And don't forget to visit Kevin Thomas Morgan's website, inspirationalselfhelpbooks.com, and get his newsletter, subscribe to his newsletter, and make sure you go to his YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/the@FitOldDog. Thanks everyone for joining us.
And I look forward to hearing Marina and Carl's progress.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.